again, college football fans. That's what I get for hitching my wagon up to friggin' Jim Harbaugh's cart. I was fooled. I'll be the first to admit it. I was bamboozled. I was taken for a mark. I bought the Michigan football team hook, line, and sinker, and I will be the first to admit that that is my bad, and I should have went with my gut feeling that I'd had about Michigan all year. But I blame Iowa. Iowa and Kirk Ferentz are the people that I blame for this, because when Michigan beat Ohio State, I thought to myself, wow, whoever winds up in the playoffs, the other three people or the other three schools just really got lucky that Michigan won this ball game, and they're not going to have to deal with Ohio State and that offense. And I thought that the snow and the decade worth of rivalry frustration and all that kind of stuff, and it being a rivalry game at home in their place, that's all things that you can't count on, and that are not going to be given to you in these neutral field postseason situations. And so I thought to myself, hey, they may not even win the friggin' Big Ten. They may lose to whoever they have to play. Let's not, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. But then they just eviscerate Iowa, 42 to whatever that turned out to be in the Big Ten championship game. And you think, well, I guess Ohio State victory was not a fluke, and that this is a for real team, and they're not going to be just another, Michigan State, Washington, Notre Dame kind of deal. Cincinnati, they're legit. I'd gotten used to the last several years that there were, it wasn't just two great teams that separated themselves. It was like three. 2019, obviously you had Clemson and Ohio State and LSU were all elite national championship quality teams that year. The year before that, 2018, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Clemson were all, deserving to be there. And there was only like one odd man out. And this is the first year that it's, two teams have separated themselves, and evidently everybody else is just total scrubs. But that seems to be the case this year, and obviously the SEC is continuing its dominance in championship games, and the second time in 5 years that it's an all SEC championship, national championship game, and third time in 10 years. So that narrative continues, and the SEC will continue to poke out their chest. And, what can I say? The rest of the country is just not giving us any other choice, really, if that's the road that you want to go down. But about this game, it looks like it's going to set up again for Georgia to be a favored against Alabama, because they played great, But here's what I will say. They didn't learn anything. Georgia didn't learn anything from this game, because it was just another destruction of a less talented team. And you got up big early. The offense was always on schedule. Stetson Bennett didn't have to throw any third down and long, anything like that. He had a 3rd and 3 long pass, but 3rd and 3, the defense isn't expecting a long pass. That was a pass of luxury. I mean, he did not have to pass out of necessity. He didn't have any stress on him. So, we didn't learn much about Stetson Bennett or Georgia. I mean, to me, it's business as usual for them. And I feel like it sets up well again for Alabama. The narrative, there's not gonna be as much confidence for Georgia in this game as there was in the SEC championship, but they're still going to be favored, and they're still going to be, after that performance against Michigan. I mean, they were breathing fire defensively. They were absolutely breathing fire. It was the best game they've played all year. And I don't know. I kind of feel like they need that game to play Alabama, and maybe still come up just short. You know what I mean? So I feel like Georgia, really put everything that they had into this game. I said going into it, Jim Harbaugh would. I felt like he would feel like he was the guy that had to pull out all the stops and break tendencies and throw trick plays. The running back throw and all that kind of stuff. You know, I figured he would be the guy, but no, Kirby decided that he was pulling out all the stops for this game. Evidently, Kirby had bought into the Michigan hype as well, because he definitely had his players lathered up and ready for that game. And so if I was a Georgia fan, I you know, you see this happen all the time in these postseason situations. You know, a team puts everything it's got into its semifinal game, and it always seems like Alabama is just coming out of a picnic, you know, that they just got through. And I mean, what Alabama did to Cincinnati, I guess I'll have to do I'll do its own reaction video, but I just had to start off with Georgia because it was such a shock. You know, I did not feel like there was any chance this game wasn't going to be close. Now, me picking Michigan was probably a little bit of wishful thinking, and, you know, hoping to get Kirby and Georgia out of the way, and you know, I would much rather see Michigan in the national championship game than Georgia, even if they had beaten Georgia, you know, for so many reasons, obvious reasons. But that's just not the case. You know, the SEC, the best of the best in the SEC is just way better than anybody else has to offer yet again. And the national championship game is as intriguing as it gets. You know, I mean, a rematch adds so much to a game. I mean, it makes it just almost impossible to expect what kind of game it's going to be. But, you know, if I was a Georgia fan, I would have, and as an Alabama fan, if Georgia was going to win, this is the way that I would choose for them to have won. An absolutely unquestionable blowout, just drubbing, and they looked amazing. They looked like freaking dragons on the defense. I mean, they were just absolutely breathing fire. But are they going to be able to perform like that again? And are they going to be able to perform like that against Alabama? You know, I think a lot of people are going to decide that the answer to that question is yes. And, you know, I know it's not breaking news or anything, but I am not in that camp, and I will continue to preach the same sermon that I've been preaching all year, which is Stetson Bennett is going to have to prove to me that he can throw a 3rd and long losing in a football game, you know, when he absolutely has to have it, and when the whole stadium knows he's going to have to throw, and when he's got Will Anderson and Christian Harris and Phil Mathis breathing down his neck, knowing the whole time that he's about to have to throw. You know, until he does it, I'm not going to believe that he can do it. And it's obvious to me now that Kirby Smart is not. He doesn't have a trick up his sleeve with JT Daniels. I mean, he's not going to bring him in for the championship game and prepare him for the championship game. I mean, he might bring him in if Stetson looks awful early, but that's a big maybe. And I still don't think he will, because everybody knows that that's just not going to work in that kind of environment. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa is a special breed, and you know, Jalen Hurts had a similar situation, and he was, you know, it was a different situation. But you get the point that I'm making. But congratulations to Kirby Smart and Georgia. They played the best game that I've seen them play. This is the most impressive I've seen them look all year, and maybe Michigan was a complete paper tiger, but even that being said, you know, Georgia came in there with the intention of there never being any question in this game, and that's exactly what they did. So be on the lookout for my Alabama-Cincinnati game review, and hope you had a wonderful new year and safe and all that, and we will be seeing you again soon.